a while since I did a take on WWE, but we're finally back live here on YouTube, streaming live. And we're here to talk about SummerSlam 2025. Actually, it occurred this past weekend, and with a pay-per-view event, it was. Not going to lie, few people had different reactions to a few things. Me personally, um, I definitely enjoyed SummerSlam for what it was worth. Many people felt variously differently about it, and that's okay. They're entitled to their opinion. And again, there was a lot of things on the card that say night one. Night one, I can honestly say it was underwhelming, but night two I definitely can say picked up the slack and gave it enough traction to run off with the races. If I was to rate this entire pay-per-view, I would give it a 10. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. There was definitely good climaxes to a bunch of stories. There were definitely a bunch of rivalries that had needed closure. Some rivalries, they left the door open. Other than that, the matches were completely great for the showing of what it was. There was absolutely great wrestling. I would say on night two than there was kind of night one. But again, everybody has their own take about this. Overall, show was great. Starting off with was the tag team division. With everything, I didn't start off everything. Sorry about that, because literally that was would have got it in the night two. I would have got it in the night one, but I was talking about night two, particularly about the women's triple threat match, and I've actually liked the outcome and the way the sequences of all happened in that match. But primarily, I'm going to talk about night one as of right now. I'm going to get to night two in a second. Sorry about that. Night one was definitely intriguing because of the fact that it started off with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. A lot of the sequences I like. I like the fact that we had a Yeet and Roman from the top of the turnbuckle, and it brought most of the crowd to everything. And like I said, it got everybody involved. So that was one thing I felt like that was very intriguing for me on my aspect. Again, I feel like that opened up Roman's character to a whole lot, and I did like how the way they had Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker look in that matchup. I do feel like they're going to be a formidable team to always mess with down the road. And cause I'm like I said, because if anybody else saw him in the background here on the green screen, we see who's world heavyweight champion. I'll get to that topic in just a minute. There was several matchups. There was sorry about that. Jade Cardell versus Tiffany Stratton. This is the low life for the night for me for night one was. So I wasn't too in particularly a fan of Tiffany Stratton. I'm still kind of not. I've been highly growing off of Jade Cargill. I feel like she has been developing into a decent star more so now, and I am actually loving the way in the spectrum of how she's getting the star push. So there is the one aspect they didn't kind of keep it safe for her. So I mean, she lost clean. So I'm thinking maybe we could probably see another aspect, maybe involve a type of matchup that will have these two women to settle that more so. I never wasn't a fan of the ending. Really wasn't whatsoever. Because I believe we had next on the card there was, oh man, if I'm not mistaken, it was the. Sorry guys, night one was kind of like a blowback because at the night two for me it was just like it was awestruck with all the lineups and everything. So that card actually does kind of thank you for subscribing. Also, too, if you are in this live feed, also become a subscriber as well. It also helps out, and also also on this feed, it helps the channel out and pushes the content. Going back to that again, I appreciate y'all. Again, the next match that I had also seen on that card. Sorry, because it was more so the Cody versus Gunther aspect for me because, oh man, I felt we were going to get maybe like not a new champion because I just wasn't. I'm not hung off of Punk, and at this aspect in time, I do like for the crowd that he draws, but I haven't been sold on him too much. So maybe in due time duration, maybe he has, maybe he will grow back on me. Like I haven't grown to like I have grown to not like Punk as much as I've liked Cena more so. So it's shifted for me over these last 10 years a stretch, probably more, probably longer, and in this name of the game, I feel it was a well deserved, but I love the timing of a lot of things that nobody is prepared for. So again, we had several different sequences that was leading up in the night one that had the matchups end pretty well. Sorry because there was the Raquel and Rodriguez versus that was another downside for me. That's another reason why I kind of like slipped my mind. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defended their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I feel like the star power of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair was going to overtake that matchup anyway. So I didn't feel like there was no need for me to even say anything more about that. It was kind of like easily predictable. And that's where we're gonna kind of like leave off with that in a sense. So now that I wasn't really like I was amazed by the sequences, by the match style and everything. I didn't feel like there was one person overshadowing the next. I feel like both teams performed well within that within that tag team bout, and literally, I feel like and if Raquel and Roxanne would have retained, I would have felt that would have made a lot more it would have brought a lot more element, and then we could have had them facing each other maybe like later on down the road. But kind of really didn't see the reason why for them to lose the titles this early. But we have new women's tag team champions, and that's just how the night was completely written off. I knew that there was a few more matches on this card because honestly, I think each card had I think each night had like 5 or 6 matchups, which was pretty doable because that's how they've been keeping it. In a sense, they've been literally sitting up here and keeping like a short card matchup, but we'll have longer style matches, which ends well for, I mean, depending on how this fan you are and whatever spectrum you like. It does for me. I feel like it adds and help out a lot more. So, you know, you can take it for what it is, but it's definitely a big helping hand when everybody has played their role and everybody performed well. I could honestly say. Well, I think in the night two. So sorry, because night one was like kind of like a breeze through because I watched it live. So once I had rewatched it for night two, it was just like, oh man, better than night one. So that's just how that one stood out. Give me a few seconds, guys. Alright, guys. Just give me 1 second. About to hop back in the live. And so, like I said, we get to night two. Naomi, Io, and Rhea Ripley. Let me just say, those three women, they definitely all bring a different dimension inside the ring. And my pick originally would have was Io, but I ended up sticking with Naomi somewhat because I felt like later on down the stretch, because I felt like they weren't going to just give her the title just for a short reign. I feel like her being heel was for a reason. Because even though Rhea is not mommy like how we used to know mommy no more, but we still love her for her being Rhea, and Io is Io. I didn't feel like they were going to waste the opportunity for Naomi to have this long journey back just for it to be overtaken by somebody in such short time notice. And we ended up getting a very decent match. And trust and believe me, the rest of the card from the whole night goes absolutely hard. Completely the 8-person tag team bout for the tag team championships. That match I was completely anticipating for, and I knew it was going to be the expectations of a complete eye catcher, or more so like everybody was going to be completely and like their eyes going to be glued because you were going to see a lot of performers perform. And Flaxium, the Morrissey Machine Guns, DIY, the Wyatt Six with also Dawkins and Angelo, the Street Profits, they absolutely all performed. I'm sorry, and Dragonfly and Andrade also as well, because all those teams, when you look at their match styles, they all had brought the different elements to make that a TLC match. And literally all they did. And there wasn't one sequence that you could have said that, oh, it might have been a dry spot, slow spot. No, there was a highly elevated, high blood pressure reading that gave you excitement every single step of the way. That was one of the highlights that I did. I think the last ladder match that I performantly went to, not see on pay-per-view, but was definitely, I believe it was the Hardys, Eminem, and Paul London and D. Brian Kendrick. I forgot what the tag team initially was called, but they were the last like TLC match that I've seen that were like eye catcher, eyeball, eye pop, and literally in the grand scheme of all that, a lot of those teams are going to still be in the running for the tag team titles. And it's going to be very interesting to see where they go at again. Going to the next matchup, because I feel like with that match being on the card heavily at that time frame, I feel like there wasn't going to be enough room for a lot more other matchups. So literally, I feel like that's why we had a short Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa for the United States Championship. So in that same regard, we're going to get something cut off. Because I think Cody and Cena, they had close to like a half an hour matchup. So we were going to get like one of the matches getting cut short. Again, we had pretty awesome. There were awesome pops during that card. Hi, how's it going? Hope you're subscribed to the channel. There were a lot of highlights, I could say, for the Jacob Fatu versus Sosa. I felt like they could have spread it out more so. Then I feel like there was definitely more. There was more creativity that they could have drawn out within the matchup, but they were on a scheduled time frame. And I think they wasn't going to go over the limit, especially with Cody and Cena being the main event. So again, that match was subpar. I had to give it a 3 out of 10. Like I said, I wasn't giving matchups grades, but again, if you are a subscriber, go ahead and be tuning in and subscribe with me. But again, the next one was Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch. I got a chance to. I didn't get a chance to watch it live. I got a chance to watch the replay of everything from night two again. So when I tell you that that wasn't that bad of a matchup, to where they kind of like did it better than the women's chick. They were better. Everything of night two was definitely better from night one. But I can say that their U.S. title matchup was kind of better than the women's championship match, somewhat, even though there were a lot of elements added to that. Again, guys, subscribe to the channel if you can, and also like the feed. Again, there was a lot of elements that they had to that, and with the not Becky, it was the Bailey pop up that also added the element to another duration to the rivalry being the what it being. So again, I tell it for what it is and love it for what it's worth. I wasn't that big of a fan of it. Now I am kind of like glued into it, especially after Vyra had to hold Becky's hand up for the title, for winning her title championship. So this is, like I said, another chapter they added to this, and definitely can go a lot further than what it is. I'm trying to remember, because next on the card was this one was a little bit of a mind game, but definitely brought a lot of hit and tradition back to the WWE. So it was Dominic Mysterio defending his Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles. And both of these two can tell a story and can translate it into the ring. And it had me glued in for a while. When AJ came out here with the Eddie Guerrero tights, or tights per se, you knew at that point that there was going to be a lot more implemented and added in. Like, there was going to be a lot more heat added to the story. I would probably love to see if their rivalry would have gone a couple more matches longer, but I don't think we're going to get that aspect. And, you know, with Dom being a performer for what he is, I mean, he's one of the great, like, I can't say greatest young performers, but he is definitely one of the talented performers right now that's on the roster under the age of 30. And we need more people like him being pushed. And I feel like him and AJ, with the mix that they had and the talent that they had to build the story, it was awesome with delivered in the ring. And I would say that matchup is definitely, if it's not 8, if it's the bottom minimum, 8 out of 10 is going out of 9 out of 10 for me. And for the main event, it was Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Everybody saw the previews. Everybody's seen the previews. They saw the last second trailer for the face turn that we had for Cena on SmackDown the night before. Again, there was a lot of implications that I thought that we were going to either see Cena really be a heel, or we was going to see Cody turn heel. That's the one thing I thought. But we ended up having another pop type of pop. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But these guys put it on the line, and they made that wrestling match look like a story that was worth telling from the long bout that it started off at Mania this year to where we are at now in SummerSlam. I feel like the story is in whole of a sense. Like, the guy who is the guy is passing the mantle on to the guy that's here now. It's kind of like the old stories that we always used to see, but we happy to see that, you know, John gets his flowers finally. I've been a John Cena hater for years, and without a shadow of a doubt, I said that the man's work ethic has rubbed me the right way, and I will say Cena is one of the GOATs of the wrestling business as of today, compared to like most RIP to the Hulk Hogan. And literally, he is the biggest star up to this day compared to everybody else that has been on the roster, been in the roster. So, with all due respect, he has earned the respect from a lot of people. And there's a lot to say about his career as an entirety, but the man himself put the work out there, and a lot of people also had a lot of mixed reactions about the pop up more so for Brock coming out. Not a lot of people, from what I have seen from the internet wise, it's a mixed reaction. Like it was like, well, whatever happened to his lawsuit is that and third. Again, we are not in the legal aspect of what he has to carry, and hoping that whatever is said and done needs to be done in the correcting that situation. But at the same time, if he is to be on the roster, maybe there should be some type of stipulation more so, because I understand that part-time guys they have the downside to their schedule. They don't have to do the traveling as much, which is really fair. Subscribe and then I can tell you. Subscribe and like and then I can tell you, but never been. Again, this is a pretty good fandom. Entertainment that I've loved watching over the years since a youngin. And hopefully, like I said, I'm going to be able to do more blogs like this coming to y'all. Hopefully more before pre-match and after show specials. Again, I've been kind of ghosted away from the channel, so hopefully, yes I am. But again, I am hoping that I can go ahead and start going live consistently more for y'all on my platform. Again, if you are interested in all my other social media platforms, follow me on IG, Twitter, Facebook, and also so tune in for my TikTok, and tune in also for if you are going to be a fellow Patreon member, be interested in joining my Patreon. I am also having tier membership and discounts coming up soon. So if you're tuning in with me for any of these live sessions and live workout sessions, be tuned in on my YouTube channel. And until then, guys, I appreciate everybody that comes out. And please subscribe, like, share. And I really do appreciate all the love that y'all give. And then I'll give out another take with y'all probably tomorrow. And until then, take it easy, guys. Have a great evening.